Now let's have a look at Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke to Fox News from the front line about the current situation on the ground. Have a look at this.
We have to be more quick. That means to lose all the bureaucracy what we have. Otherwise, we will not have any chance. So to be smart technology, more technologically, and of course, quick. It's not money, it's people lives.
And Zelensky also made the point that he has no plan B if the US doesn't send aid to help them.
This help is crucial, so without it, sorry, but we will have more and more such heroic guys who will be in the hospitals, because if you don't have a real defending shield and some similar powerful artillery with the rounds, of course you will lose people.
Jason, I think people forget sometimes that part of the reason why this is so important is that if the US and other like-minded countries do not stand up to Russia in Ukraine, then it just paves the way for Russia to move on to the Baltic states, to move on to Poland.
Yeah. Russia's not going to pull back on this. I mean, you look at Russia's history in fighting what we would see as border wars. They see as civil wars. They see this as a civil war, and they historically think this is their turf. And I mean, even if you don't believe me, I mean, watch the interview that he did with Tucker Carlson. Oh, yeah. For whatever you may have thought of the interview, it's an insight to his thinking. He thinks that's his turf. He wants it back, and he won't stop until he gets it back, or until they stop him, until his side boats him out or gets rid of him. I think when we don't have someone who doesn't know what day it is as President of the United States, things might change a little bit. The West might have a little bit more muscle and a little bit more sense and be respected a little more by Russia, and there might be adequate discussions that end the bloodshed of this. Because, I mean, however you want to interpret it, Russia is progressing on this, and Ukraine is resisting, but it's costing them a generation of people, and that's not good for anybody.
I mean, Danica, the contrast couldn't be more stark between that interview that former Fox News host Tucker Carlson did with Putin, where he just gave him a platform to spend half an hour sprouting Russian propaganda. Just days later, Navalny's murdered. And now you have Zelensky showing the situation on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Zelensky's out there actually showing what's going on the ground. And, you know, if you think back to the early days of the war, it looked as though Ukraine could fall. And thanks to the help of the United States, Australia and NATO allies, they were able to get themselves back on the ground. But I feel like the West is really at a crossroads with this now. Ukraine has not freed all of its territory. And realistically, Ukraine's survival relies upon support from the US and its allies now. I don't think anybody could have imagined that the war would still be going, but if Ukraine loses, the world loses. And I don't think we can honestly say that a Vladimir Putin victory is good for the world. It's extremely dangerous for the world. Look, the West is really at a crossroads, and Ukraine's fighting for its national freedom, and it has every right to do that.
But what is worse for the world is if it gets bigger than what it is now.
Sure.
And that's the delicate line we need to tread, and that's why we need strength in the White House. And I'm not necessarily saying
that's
Trump
why
is the solution.
That's why the current approach works well, because the US is arming Ukraine to fight for themselves. That you know, this is the perfect solution for the moment.
The solution needs to be talk. You're not going to solve this because Russia's going to keep coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, again, whatever you think of the Carson interview, you've got an insight to the man's resolve. And the man's resolve is he ain't going to stop.
He's not going to give up.
He thinks it's his.
All right, Jason Morrison, Danica Di Giorgio, thank you both so much.